Hello, my name is Amina, and I'm your decision-making specialist. And today is April 31st, which means that it is day 46. Here we are, still here. There are rumors that we may be talking about weeks, and then there's another announcement that maybe a stage 1 will begin in maybe a few days if the numbers hold. Whew, we are all hopeful. And that does not mean that the virus has suddenly disappeared and COVID-19 is in the past and we are home free. We are not. No matter whether where you live is open, fully, partially, incrementally, or maybe not at all yet. It doesn't mean that everything is done. We've served our time and we are immune and can go back to regular life. Don't we wish in a certain way that we could? However, we know that we're talking about living and planning now for out there. And this is where decisions are really coming into focus. And the first step to making any decision and all decisions is awareness. And that's not simply awareness of the pros and the cons and the yes and the no's and on and on. No, every decision begins with self-awareness, right where you are. And part of that decision making is about how and if you want to plan. I have a friend and oh my gosh, his motto of make a plan and plan to follow the plan is right on. It is so set in his wiring. And if we were going on a trip together, I would pack some things. We would decide a destination, and he would say, okay, I'll make the plan. And I thought, oh my gosh, the plan is we get in the car, we be sure we have gas, we be sure the wheels are going around, and we just go. We know how to point the car in the right direction, and we just have a nice ride. And it wasn't that he was rigid, it was just that he was very orderly about things. And what he said, because I asked him about it, I said, how can you be spontaneous if everything has a plan? Or do you plan, to tease him about, or do you plan for spontaneity? And he said, let me tell you about planning for me. And what he said was that he would make a plan about what his preferences were, the way he wanted to go, where he wanted to be able to stop, what he wanted to be able to see along the way. And once he had that outline, that template, that map of connecting the dots for what he wanted, he said, I'm very free. If I see a side road, I can take the side road. And I always know how to come back to my plan. And so I listened real carefully and I thought, oh, his plan is what I call the center of my personal circle. And we talked about that. And he said, we always need to know how to get back home, how to get back to ourselves, how to get back to our value, how to get back to what we want so we don't lose track. And I spoke with him the other day, and I was laughing, and he said, "What are you laughing about?" And I said, "I'm giving you a chance to gloat, to brag, to take credit, to say I told you so, because you know what? I was thinking about going out there while I'm here, and guess what? I have a plan." Yeah. And he laughed, and he said, "You have a plan." And he said, "Well, isn't it just you go from here to there?" And I said, "Were it that simple? Gotta have a plan." So he and I talked, and what we figured out is that we needed to be flexible, and we needed to have an outline. And the purpose and the intention of that outline is this: that we wanted to be able to go out there incrementally, safely, not only to keep us safe, it's so that we were taking precautionary, preventive measures to help keep other people safe also. And that we wanted to be aware of specifically what was important to us that would help us feel safe. We already wear our masks and have our gloves, keep our distance, and cough in our elbow nook, I guess you call it, and to wash our hands. We already know that part, and that we just decided is just part of the plan. It's a given. It's not part of it. Well, if we see a side road over there, we see one over there, we'll just take off our mask or our gloves and then we put them back on. That's not it. It's that we have those basics, and that is the outline. Gloves, mask, wash hands, keep social distance, safety distance I like to call it, and be sure that if I cough or sneeze, mask or no mask, I go to my elbow or the tuck of my arm, and that receives my sneeze and my cough. And so then we talked about some more about, well, we're not sure what places will be like. So how much safety do we want and for ourselves need if we're going to go maybe clothing shopping? If that probably won't be the first stage. We were just talking in general. What would we like to notice to see if that was a place that we wanted to shop again? Maybe it's a favorite place we've always shopped. And we're going to be aware of what safety features that store has in place to keep us safe, and to look around and see how they're taking care of their employees, because that matters. All the safety needs to be human-centric, not just we'll keep you safe and you guys you're kind of winging it on your own. No, that's part of all of us being in it together. We're not obligated. we are responsible, which means we have the ability to respond to this situation the way we want and to take care of ourselves as well as those around us. And another awareness is how many places we want to go. Maybe we used to just stop here for coffee and stop there for something else and go there at lunchtime and then wander around there after work or after whatever, and then plan for dinner and then plan where we'll shop to get food for dinner, all of these things. We remember and yet want to hold an awareness that out there is a little unknown. That little cafe may still be there. It may not be open yet. It may be open, and because of the social distancing, it has only 25% of the capacity open, available that it used to be. So there are actual sittings for lunch. Maybe we have to make arrangements. We can't just pop in and stand nose to nose, shoulder to shoulder in a line and pick up what we want. Maybe we can't even really call ahead because they're trying to get their grip on this new thing too. So just those incremental steps bring a lot of decisions. And if you're on the other side and you are one of the restaurant owners or managers, or you do have a shop, or you do have any place else that will then be open and having people, you have to figure out, all right, we have permission to open up our shop. We have permission to open up our small medical office, our dentist office, our physical therapy office. We've gotten the green light for that and then there's other planning. Wow. We've been thinking about this, and as a store owner, as a shop owner, as a professional dental office or physical therapist office or shoe shop, maybe a nursery where they sell plants wholesale, maybe retail, all of this. Service stations, open up the bay and start doing mechanical work, and maybe your car needs maintenance. So checking to be sure that they have safe processes in place. And all this is really monumental, and it requires that we be aware. And I applaud my friend because it also would be really good for you to have just your basic master plan. Your no matter what, this is how I'm going to do it. And once you've got that in place, then if you go somewhere and they're not ready or open or available, or it doesn't feel safe, pick up your plan, take it somewhere else, and check it out. I know it sounds like a lot of work, and I really believe that it'll just start coming more natural as we practice it. So the idea is to give some thought to it now. What are my definite yeses no matter what? What are my maybes? And what are my definite no's? If these procedures are not in place, I will not go there. It has nothing to do with the value of the person owning the shop. You could let that person know that you're not totally comfortable coming in because of these procedures. And let them make the choice, and then you still get to follow your plan about whether you want to go in or not. Lot to think about. How do you follow the designated guidelines, and how do you figure out what are your guidelines? Because you have got to feel safe. And so think about when you go out there, what will help you feel as very safe as possible. Thanks, because remember, along with what you're figuring out in terms of your plan, is that it fits your plan of the story that you're writing, because you want to be alive and you want other people to be alive to share your story, because you are the person who is going to have an incredible legacy with all the chapters of your story and your plan to keep safe and alive and to help others join right with you. Thanks, and take that legacy and be prepared. All right. See you tomorrow. I will be here. And meanwhile, click that subscribe button. Let me know what your plan is. I'd like to figure out a plan, and when I'm figuring out mine, I'm going to look at yours and say, I like that. I'm going to add that. All right, take care. Come back. I'll be here. Bye for now.